I have been racking my brain on the latest chapter of D.Gray-Man for the past week and a half. The journey of D.Gray-Man. It was quite fun. It was very fun. Very thought-provoking. Very fun. But that last chapter, I'm not going to spoil yet because I want to make the first part of this video spoiler-free. Because I know some are probably wondering, is it worth the read? So the first part's going to kind of just be the presentation of D.Gray-Man, talk about that. And then I'll get into, the spoilerific stuff that talks about the series. But I just want to say right now, the reason why this is so late is because D.Gray-Man is not a series that you can just read over real quickly. Like, I read it once. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I read it once. But it's not a series you can just walk into and think you're going to understand everything at once. Like, it's not that series. The amount of left field plot twists and just curveballs you get throughout the series is fucking ridiculous. I don't think I have seen a series use so many curveballs or left field curveballs like D.Gray-Man. It's that whack. Like, it's so fucking whack. Like, this is coming from a guy that just analyzes Tokyo Ghoul week after week and just fucking breaks it down. It just, D.Gray-Man, I really, really, really just need to continuously research this series because right now, this series, man, it's great. Very good. I love it. I love the presentation of it. But fuck, dude. Like, it's fucking confusing. I gotta admit, it's fucking confusing. It's good, though. Fucking great, but damn. Okay, so, D.Gray-Man, let's dive into the presentation. Let's, talk about what this is about. So, D.Gray-Man, if you did not hear, you have no idea what the fuck this is, you're like, Chibi, what the fuck is this? I've never heard of this, whatever, you might have heard of it, just, let's, get over it. So, D.Gray-Man is a shonen series. It has went through a lot of issues in the past. It had, errors with hiatuses. For instance, constant hiatuses popped up to where the writer, the mangaka, for instance, had issues with a broken hand to, like, some form of legal issues, legal trouble, and just so many other things on top of that. And so the series has had constant breaks over the years. Not because the mangaka is lazy, but some unfortunate events happen. For instance, breaking your hand. You can't fucking draw if your hand's broken. I mean, just go figure. I mean, if you broke your hands, could you draw? Probably not. So, it's understandable why there was such a long hiatus for D.Gray-Man, and it's finally back. The latest chapter has finally come back about a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and as I said, I would try to catch up to the series and review it and start doing, chapter by chapter review, which I'm going to be doing, because I really like the series, but the presentation of the series, it comes onto kind of like a biblical series. For instance, it's a series that uses biblical references, stuff from the Bible. Like, if you love manga that uses Bible references, like maybe stuff that has to do with, like, Noah, to Adam and Eve, to the devil, to heaven, to demons, and stuff like that, kind of like biblical stuff, okay? If you like that type of stuff, and you like that in manga, or you like things that kind of use the foundation of stuff like that, you most likely will like D.Gray-Man. It's pretty much heavily focused on the Bible. Like, I mean, not exactly following the Bible, but I'm saying it uses themes from the Bible in D.Gray-Man, and if you like that type of concept, you will definitely like the series. I mean, it's got a good, very good vibe about an atmosphere when it comes to the way it kind of uses these elements and core themes when it comes to The Exorcist, to the Akuma, and then, the Millennium Earl. There's just so many different things that this series uses that is really good, and it does a good job with using these different set elements to almost the fullest extent. And when I was reading this series, I personally didn't think it was a shonen. Like, some of the things, like the latest chapter, like I said, I'm not going to spoil yet because I'm using the first part of this video as somewhat of a spoiler-free segment to just introduce you guys to the series. Like, the latest chapter was a huge fucking mindfuck that just blew my damn brains out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it just, like, yeah. So, the series, the way it uses some of themes when it comes to psychological, to fucking, just the symbolism and different things like that, it's something you don't normally see from a shonen. Nowadays, you don't see that type of shit, and I am not used to that. I'm not for a shonen. Like, fuck, dude. Like, I felt like I was reading a seinen. I really did. I really did. I really thought I was reading a seinen, because some of the shit in this series is very dark. It's a very dark series. And, I mean, just because it's dark doesn't mean it's a seinen, but, I mean, some of the writing to this is kind of seinen level, and I think it's kind of nuts. It really is. And I heard there were some issues with the mangaka when it came to the series kind of stretching into the, I guess, the limits of shonen. For instance, going into, like, seinen territory, and I don't think Shonen Jump really liked that at the time. I think there was some legal trouble with that, and the mangaka wanted this to turn into, like, some form of seinen, but, you know, Shonen Jump wouldn't let that happen. But that's what I've heard from Chibits, and then, you know, news and different things like that, you know, researching online. But for now, though, if you like biblical anime, manga, or literature, or anything like that might use these type of themes, you most likely will like the series. Go give it a shot. It's a really good series. But like I said, it's a fucking confusing fucking manga. Like, holy fucking shit. So confusing. But if you get past that and you love that type of shit, you're gonna love the series. I'm just saying right now, you're gonna fucking love it. Now, I love that type of shit. I love the mind fucks, but damn. Okay, so I'm getting into spoiler content right now. I'm getting into spoiler content, so if you don't want to be spoiled and you're now not reading the manga, like if you're not reading the manga right now, or if you're not up to date, I really recommend you don't continue on, because I'm about to spoil the fuck out of some shit to the latest chapter. Okay, 3, 2, 1, stato. Okay. So, the mindfuck reveal of chapter 219. Yo, what the fuck? Mana is the Earl. Alan Walker is Nia, which I knew, but what the fuck? Like, okay, so, how? Let me explain. Beginning of the series, we know in the flashbacks that Alan recalls to us, which I'll get into Alan's flashbacks in a moment, I'll kind of talk about that, but in Alan's flashbacks, we do know that Mana was killed because of the Millennium Earl. Like, the Mana was killed, and eventually, you know, you had it to where Alan wanted Mana back. Mana came back as an Akuma, and then we know what happened. The rest is kind of history. How is the person that is Mana, okay, the person that is Mana, that supposedly got resurrected as an Akuma by the Millennium Earl, which the Millennium Earl is the person that died and got resurrected, how the, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Okay, so, yes, I know that's confusing as fuck, but let me try to explain this. Mana that died, Alan was sad, wanted Mana to come back. So the Earl came to him, which the Earl is the person that died, and Earl's the person that died, but Alan wanted the person back. Earl's like, hey, I can bring Mana Walker back, and then Mana comes back as an Akuma. The Earl is there still, but the Mana in the Akuma is Mana, and you're like, what the fuck? And so, I don't understand that. I'm like, and that's one of the main things that's fucked me over for the past week and a half, just trying to contemplate, what? Like, I've been thinking about that for a week and a half, 2 weeks now. It's that ridiculous, dude, because I am just at a brick wall. Please, if one of you can clarify with a theory, please, let me know, please, because I'm not as in-depth with this series yet, because it'll take some time for me to learn everything and get up to speed with the series when it comes to reviewing, because I need to go over so much content, look over it again, and, you know, get in depth with the series. It'll take me a little bit, probably a couple chapter reviews, probably to really get into good details with this series, because, like I said right now, it's a fucking confusing series, and Tokyo Ghoul's confusing series, but it took me a little bit to finally get into analyzing everything and understanding the structure and the core theme of the series, and so it'll take me some time to actually learn everything for D.Gray-Man, but for now, I gotta ask you, Chibits, you all help me. You help me on a lot of my reviews I do, and I'm going to ask you, Chibis, right now. If you have a theory or anything about how the fuck Mana is the Earl, but the Earl was there and resurrected Mana and just that shit, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know. Fuck, dude. I looked everywhere. I tried to do my own research. I went to forums, everything. I'm like, am I missing something? And I just like, so, yeah, please. If you have a theory, please. So, enough of that. Now, we do know Alan Walker's memories are not that trustworthy, so to say. We do know throughout the series, Alan Walker's had these distorted memories that are kind of fucked up, and the majority of the series is Alan questioning, is he really Alan, or, you know, is he really the same person? I mean, questioning his identity and shit, and that makes you assume that the memories of his past might not really be true memories. Like, is Alan a fucking person? Is he even Alan? I mean, we do know Nia's inside of him, but I mean, is Alan even a person? Is he just a fake, falsified identity? I mean, you see what the series fucking does to me? I love this shit. I do, but fuck, man, you see what the series does to me? It fucking mind fucks me. Okay, so Alan's memory and the Earl's memory is not that credible, so to say, because we do know their memory is just fucking fucked. It's the best way to put that. And so, it's not that trustworthy. And after witnessing some of the things in this chapter, latest chapter, with how the Earl, the original Earl, split into two people, Mana and Nia. Split into two people, which created the 14th. And so now we know why the 14th is such an irregular. The 14th shouldn't exist because the 14th is technically the first. If you get my drift. Like, see, it's like the first splitting making two and 14th came about. There shouldn't be 14, there should only be 13. And so, thinking about that, it's kind of fucked up. We now know that the 14th really shouldn't exist at all. And the parallels of the foreshadowing since the beginning when it came to how the Earl and Alan were kind of similar, with, you know, light and dark and stuff, it makes a lot more sense now that, you know, we know they're technically the same person, or brothers, whatever you want to classify them as. And now knowing that, it makes a lot more sense with some of the way the elements of the plot was written in the series. And also how, like, you know, the certain crown clown was, like the design of some of the stuff, or, you know, the sword that Alan brings out and takes down Akuma with. The sword was, you know, inverted color of the Earl's sword, and so we now know why, because they were the same damn person. But the main question I wonder is, why? Why did the Earl split? I have a couple of theories, and if I'm wrong, or if you have another theory that trumps mine, let me know in the comments. This is not really a review, this is kind of actually more of a discussion, just talking about my thoughts of the journey of D.Gray-Man. Okay, so I personally believe what happened to the Earl that split, before he split, he met a woman, Katerina, and this person was supposedly the Earl's lover, from what we could see. The Earl was supposedly an evil person, someone that opposed God, opposed the innocents, wanted to kill all of humanity off. You know, the enemy of God, pretty much. And I feel like the Earl fell in love. He had unexpected love. He fell in love with a human, Katerina. As time progressed, these inner thoughts, this inner conflict started taking place inside of the Earl. For instance, Mana and Nia. This internal conflict started happening in the Earl. And then eventually, because of so much stress and what was happening, the Earl eventually split because both sides couldn't make up their mind what they wanted. One side, the Earl, wanted to destroy humanity, and one side wanted to love everything because it found the joy in humans. For instance, Katerina. And we come to find out that Katerina comes and sees these two kids and raises them as if they're her children. And so we have to wonder, Is that why? Is that why they split? It's because of that internal conflict. I think so, because of that. What happened to Katarina? Obviously, she got reincarnated or something. Also, with this chapter, we come to find out that Road is alive. I thought she was dead. I'm glad to see clarification that she is alive. And you know, I want to say something real quick. Since I read this chapter, I kind of read it when it already was out, and I started reading the series. That chapter, right before the newest chapter came out, that cliffhanger was a giant-ass middle finger. Like, that's as bad as Togashi's Hunter x Hunter hiatus cliffhanger. It's that big of a middle finger. Now, I know it's not the mangaka's fault, because, you know, she had issues, legal issues, broken hand. I mean, that happens. You can't do nothing about that. But, I mean, that cliffhanger on chapter 218, that was a fucking middle finger. Because if I had to wait 2 to 3 years, or even 4 years, oh my fucking god, dude. I would probably lose my damn mind. I'd be kind of worse than Mana and, you know, Alan right now, losing their fucking minds, you know, with their personality-wise. I'd probably be the exact same or worse, because if I had to wait after that cliffhanger, oh shit, why the fuck would you do that? But I now see why so many complained about that. And why so many are happy to see it back. I'm so fucking glad I did not read this series before this chapter came out. I'm gonna be honest, I really am. Because if I would have actually read to that chapter and had to stop, oh fuck, man, I would have been pissed. I would have been fucking pissed. Not because of the, you know, the manga, because the mangaka, like I said, already has it. You can't do nothing about that. But I would have been pissed just because of content-wise, just that cliffhanger. The cliffhanger, man, like, what the fuck? What the fuck, man? Don't leave it on the cliffhanger like that. So, besides that, though, I can really tell that the mangaka cares for this series. I can really tell when it comes to the writing. For the mangaka to go through so many issues with legal trouble to hand issues of being broken, and then this many years on a hiatus and then still come back to a series, you can still tell that the mangaka loves D.Gray-Man. You can still tell. The love is there. And especially in the latest chapter, you can see the love even better than it was before. It seemed like the love for D.Gray-Man was rekindled in the mangaka, because the artwork, hot damn, that artwork was probably the best I've seen in D.Gray-Man. It was that good. The artwork of the latest chapter was fucking brilliant. It really was. It was, wow. Way, way better than I think anything I've seen from D.Gray-Man. It was that good. And so you could see that the mangaka loves the series. That makes me happy, because when a series probably goes through these type of issues, when you're detached from a series for so long, probably with hiatus or something, you probably will lose that love for the series, or you'll detach slowly away from it. I'm glad to see that the mangaka still cares, especially given those type of curveballs in, you know, this chapter, with the information and the artwork and so many things like that. You can tell that the mangaka does care for her work, which makes me very pleased to see. Because there's some writers out there that doesn't really give a shit about their work. They're just in it, they keep writing, and they just lose that love for their work. And you can really tell which writers care for their work and which ones really don't. So, back to the point, okay? So, the latest chapter is a huge mindfuck. I mean, the title of the series is something I do want to talk about, because when it comes to reading or watching anime, I always think of the title. I always do that. I've done it many times beforehand, like when I was, you know, reviewing Durarara, I talked about, like, what the fuck does the title even mean? Like, I mean, the title's like Durarara, and I'm like, what the hell does this mean? And then, you know, different names I've seen through my journey, like, you know, Berserk, when I said, oh my god, that fucking title drop, you know, volume 27, 28, you know, that title drop. I'm like, oh my god, that fucking title drop. And I love title drops. I love title drops in manga so much. And so, when I go into a series, I actually expect the title to have some form of meaning with the literature. And unless you're Bleach, of course. If you're Bleach, you don't really have any relationship to the title. But I'm not getting into that. So, I was actually trying to figure out, okay, so what does D.Gray-Man mean? Like, what is the meaning behind this title when it comes to the series? Like, I really contemplated this, and after thinking upon thinking upon thinking while I was, binge reading the series, I came to the conclusion, D.Gray-Man, it makes a very obvious statement. Like, the series has a light and a dark side. We know that. And after seeing the latest chapter, which kind of confirms what I have to think about this, Alan and the Earl are kind of light and dark, and in between is gray. And there's really no proper moral ground on either side at the moment because we don't know the full picture on both sides. And now thinking about it, D.Gray-Man actually symbolizes the relationship between the Earl and Alan. Because gray, the gray moral line. Because, they probably split because they didn't know which side to choose. The gray moral line, gray line. And D was also in the name of this, the character's names. Mana D. Campbell and then Nia D. Campbell. That was their names. D was in the middle of their names, and it's in the title, D.Gray-Man. Gray is the symbolism between the Earl and Alan's connection, because they're morally gray line. And then you also have it to where the D stands for the middle initial, and then man stands because they're dudes and shit like that. So, I'll tell you what. That's enough for now. I gotta process my thoughts on this. I want to see what you Chibits think in the comments below, and just, get some more well-processed thoughts, more experienced thoughts on this, because I know there's a lot more experienced readers, manga readers of D.Gray-Man out there. I want to have to do my own personal research on my time, because this is a series I care about. It's definitely something I actually cherish quite a bit after reading this. Like, I really love this series, and it's going to take me some time, Chiefs. Just give me some time to research and stuff. You know how I am. When I do get in to start researching series, you know how that turns out. So, I want to have to research. I want to, get in depth with you, Chiefs, in the comments below, talk with you, and just see what you all think about the latest chapter. I want to see your thoughts on it. But this series is a bi-monthly manga release, if I'm correct. So, does that mean it's coming out every 2 months or every 3 months? So, we're not getting a chapter this month, if I'm correct. We're not getting a chapter in August. Are we getting a chapter in September, or are we getting one in October? Is it like a 3-month release schedule? Like every 3 months we get a new chapter? Or is it every 2 months? If anyone could clarify on that, please let me know. Because I'm not really used to bi-monthly manga releases. I'm really not. Because I don't review or read, actually, bi-monthly release manga. I don't. So, if anyone has any information on that, please let me know. So, you all have a wonderful day. Hopefully you all enjoyed my first D.Gray-Man video. This is the first of many. And I'm sorry if I got any points wrong in this video. I don't mean that. It's my first video. And this isn't really, I guess, considered a review. This is more of my impressions or thoughts on my journey of D.Gray-Man. So hopefully you all enjoyed it. I really loved reading this. The Crown Clown events, to the Dark Matter, to the Noah family. Road is my favorite best girl. Road is fucking best girl. She's fucking amazing. And then the Innocents, to, finding out more about the Alma and different things like that. There's just some really good stuff in the series. Really good content. I loved almost every single arc. Probably my favorite arc in the series. I'd say I am a big fan of the arc. I know it's a pun. When Noah's Ark, that one where, Alan figured out, like, he was the 14th and stuff. Like, he was starting to get questions about himself. I like that arc. I think that's one of my favorite arcs in the series. That was a really good arc. A really well-executed arc. I like all the arcs of D.Gray-Man, of course, but that was one of my personal favorites. And the writing and everything, really love it. I've told you my favorite character because I know some of you would ask. I love what my favorite arc is, like I've told you that. Let's see, I got the basic questions you Chibits ask when I review a series or catch up. I got those out of the way. And yeah, so tell me your thoughts. How do you all feel about D.Gray-Man? And hopefully this video will inspire some of you to want to read D.Gray-Man if you haven't read it before. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You have a wonderful day or not wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.